Welcome to another episode of Dynamic Diecasters, where this week we're actually going to start our Star Wars Build Your Own X-Wing build. So we're going to be starting with issue 1 and going through issue 4 today. So with that being said, when we come back, we'll go ahead and get started on issue number 1. Welcome back. So like I said before the break, we're going to go ahead and actually work on the Star Wars X-Wing, Build Your Own X-Wing build today. Now this build is actually from Deagostini, but I don't believe, I'll link the website here that's in the book, but I'm actually not sure if they actually sell this anymore, because it seems like on the US website, they're scaling back on a lot of their models. There's not a lot of models left, and I'm currently getting this on a monthly subscription. And what I've seen is most of theirs are like full kit builds now, so you get all the kits at once and you can build the models, but they've even got a small few on there. Now, unlike the Eagle Moss builds, these don't really come with like a poster to show you how big it is. Like if you've seen in my previous builds, we got like a poster that shows you how big the build was going to be at the end. I know this is, I can't really even remember what the scale of this is, but the magazines are kind of like Eagle Moss's. The difference is, it looks like, is that the articles are at the beginning and the build explanation is at the end, whereas in the Eagle Moss builds, they're the opposite. And then it looks like it gives you explanations on what's coming in the next issues on the back of the magazine. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and get started on stage 1 of this build, which it looks like is assembling the cockpit canopy. So I'll go through the parts that we got in this issue, and like with Eagle Moss, they're boxed, so I gotta open this box up. I'll pull out all the parts, and then we'll go ahead and go through the build, depending upon, you know, I may do this real time or I may time lapse it, depending upon how long it actually takes me. But I don't want you guys sitting through 30 minutes of build time on a video. It'd be kind of boring for you. So if I can get this off, it would be nice. I don't know if you guys could even hear me, but we've got, in this case, we've got the canopy, cockpit canopy front, and then we've got the cockpit canopy rear right here. And then we've got the laser cannon housing right here. And then we've got the laser cannon tube, the laser cannon shoulder, and then the laser cannon jacket. And then lastly, we've got components of the R2d2 robot. So we've got, over here, we've got his dome right here. Then we've got his front panel. Then we've got an internal LED, which is a little small light. We've got the LED mount, which it looks to be this little white piece, I think. Then we've got holographic projectors right here with really tiny pieces. And then lastly, we've got his right leg, the outer side of his right leg. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started with the build. There's no screwdriver that came with this, so my thought is that there's not going to be a lot of intricate details on this one. So basically, the first thing we're going to do is assemble the cockpit canopy, and it looks like you just take the 2 pieces of the canopy and we face them like this, and then we just basically line up the hinges and then hook the hinges over the pins and then press them together, which doesn't seem very easy to do. It says just push them. Well, that one was easy. The second one wasn't. There we go. So now that was pretty much, make sure it moves smoothly up and down. So that's the finished part for the assembly. And then the next part is assembling the first laser cannon. So the three pieces so we've got the long piece, the short piece, and this piece. So we push let's see, which one's the jacket? It's the shorter one. So it shows to push it firmly into, they must be labeled wrong because that one ain't gonna fit. So it says push this firmly into the jacket, and then make sure it's seated all the way in, which it is, and then push the tube firmly onto the shoulder, which there we go there. So that's basically all we do right now, because obviously we only got one half of the end of the part of the laser cannon. So that's pretty much it for that part. And then it looks like we assemble R2d2's dome. So we start by taking the 3 projectors as numbered. So it looks like one is, let's see, one is this one, no, one is this one, 2 is this one, 3 is this one. It says as numbered, but I don't see, it might be barely visible on here, but anyhow, we'll snap the first one off, and then we'll fit that into the first part of the dome, which is to the right of the little blue section. See how easy this will be with my big fingers, which was fairly easy. And they just slot into that. Then you guys can't see it, but it's literally this piece right here. And then we'll take the second one, snap it off. And it goes opposite, it looks like on the top. It shows opposite of that section to the left, so it looks like it's right here. Oh, see, that's what I was worried about, was it? With my big fingers, trying to get a hold of these things. There we go. And it goes on the top right there. Like, I don't know if you guys can catch it on camera, but it's right in the top of this. Then lastly, we'll take the third one off, and it goes into the slot in between these 2 blue sections here. And there we go. And it slots right in. So it's right here on the plastic piece. So, and then that's pretty much all we do in this stage. It looks like we just keep the other parts for later parts of the build. So the outer leg, the LED, and the LED slot, we'll just put them off to the side because I might end up doing these in the future stages. So that was stage 1. We'll go ahead and move on to issue number 2. Like I said, depending on how long these take, I may just do these real time. So Issue number 2. Let me get to the parts. Issue number 2 is going to be the Cockpit Base, the laser cannon, and the R2d2 droid again. So I'll go ahead and I'll take all the pieces out of this box. And this one I actually might time lapse because there's a lot more parts in this section than the last one. So I'll play it by ear, and if I think it's going to take longer than a specific amount of time, then I'll time lapse the build for you guys and show you what we did at the end of the stage versus having you watch what I'm doing the entire time. So let's see, we've got the forward laser generator end cap right here. We've got the forward laser generator outer half, which I believe is this part right here. We've got the inner half, which is this piece. Then we've got the laser generator union right here. Then we've got the rear laser generator end cap right here. Then we've got the rear laser generator outer half right here. And then we've got the inner half right here. Then we've got the laser generator LED, like we had the LED for the R2d2. And then we've got the cockpit base, which this is the first metal part we've had in the build so far, which obviously we're only on stage or issue 2 or stage 2, but this is the first metal piece of the build that we've got so far. And then we've got the R2d2 components for the section, which is the left leg outer side. And then we've got the left leg inner side. And then we've got a shoulder joint. These are all little tiny parts. And then the R2d2 power pack body, which is this piece right here. And then lastly, we've got another little tiny piece, which is the power pack front for R2d2. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started on the build, and I'll show you what we did when we get back. See you in a few minutes. And that was it for issue 2 or stage 2. So we had the parts for the R2d2 left leg, so we put those all together. And they're really just pushed together at this point. That's why we don't have any screws. But so we had to put these two together and put the shoulder joint right here. Then the power pack, we had to put the end in here and then push it onto this. So this is the currently finished left leg. And then lastly, we had the laser generator parts for the cannon, and we had to basically snap all these together and run the LED. So we had to pop the LED in here, run the wire, put these parts together, and then run the wire out this way, and then snap these all together. So that's the currently finished portion of this piece. And then the cockpit base, we didn't have to do anything with yet. So I'll put that to the side. And we'll go ahead and move on to issue or stage 3. So in this stage, it's the again, continuing with R2d2, the laser cannon, and the cockpit frame. In this one, we actually receive a screwdriver, so my thought is we might be putting stuff onto the frame at this point, but we'll see. I haven't looked forward in the episode, or in the issue, so I don't know offhand in these, because these builds are slightly different so far than the Eagle Moss builds are. So with that, we've got the laser cannon rear end cap, which I'm trying to see which one that is. I don't think it's this one. This looks like the front end cap. This is probably the rear end cap right here. Yeah, this is the laser cannon rear end cap. Then we've got the laser cannon housing for the inner half. So if you remember in stage 1, we had the outer half. So this is the other part of it. Then we've got the laser cannon side detail, or sorry, not the side detail, but the side tubes. And then we do have the side detail, but it's right here on this little section right here. There's a little piece that will pop into the side. And then we've got the cockpit right front frame, which these look to be labeled right and left. And this is metal also, so this looks to be the right front frame. Then we've got the right center frame, which is a smaller piece here. Then we've got the right rear frame, which will be this one. And then on the flip side, we've got the left one. So we've got the left rear frame. We've got the left center frame. And then the left front frame. If I can get it out of here. Then for the R2d2 components, we've got the right leg inner side. If you remember in the first episode, or first issue, or first stage, we got the outer section. So these are basically the same parts we got in stage 2, but for the right leg this time. And then, like I said before, they gave us a little screwdriver, and we've got 7 XW01 screws. With that, we'll go ahead and get started on this stage, and I'll show you what we did when we get back. See you in a few more minutes. So that was it for stage 3. So we completed the right leg of R2d2. So we had to do the same thing we did with the left leg, except we had to add these LED contacts in the bottom of the right leg. They're little metal pins. And then we had to do the same thing with the power pack, and then route the LED wires through here. I believe we'll complete R2d2 in the next stage. So, but this is what we did in this stage. We also completed the cockpit frame, or we worked on the cockpit frame, so we added all 6 of these pieces to the cockpit frame from stage 1. And then lastly, we completed one of the laser cannons. So we routed the LED lights from here all the way through, and then we added all the parts that we had completed previously, or in the previous stage. In stage 1, I believe we added this part, and then the parts from this stage to the laser cannon. So that's what this piece looks like. So you can get a good idea of how big the ship's going to be based on how big this laser cannon is in comparison to me. So it's probably going to be about this long, maybe a little bit longer than this in terms of size. But we'll see when we get further along. With that, we'll move on to stage 4 of the build today, and this will be the final stage for this week. So we'll continue working on the cockpit base, the R2d2, and the laser cannon. So I'm assuming we're gonna well, we may test the laser cannon because it looks like there's a battery box in this particular issue. Now, I may be able to test it because I might have the batteries, but I might not. I might actually have to go buy more batteries. Anyways, so with that being said, we've got a bunch of little tiny pieces. So looks like there's fiber optics in here and a laser canner emitter in this little bag right here, I think. Let's see, we've got the laser cannon tip, which is this piece right here. We've got the laser cannon flashback suppressor, which is this piece right here. Then we've got laser cannon suppressor mount halves, which are these two pieces right in here. And like I said, we've got a battery box right here, and let's see, looks like it's AAA battery, so I'll probably have to test this a little bit later and add that to this at the end of this episode. That's for R2d2, so that's the battery box. And then we've got cockpit left. Oh, let me point this out too. This is I think this is the fiber optic, actually, this long piece of, it looks like plastic, but there's probably something in there that, anyways, it's probably something we run through the laser to make the light go further along the laser cannon from the front. The laser cannon emitter is probably in this bag with the R2d2 pieces. Then we've got, it looks like is this labeled? Yeah, cockpit right side frame. And this will be the left side, for cockpit left side frame. And then we've got the few pieces for R2d2. So we've got the back panel for him. If you remember earlier, we had the front. We've got the head spindle right here. Then we've got where did it go? Oh, it's right here in front of me. The R2d2 base contact right here. And then we've got lenses, which are in this bag right here, but I think the laser cannon emitter's in here with it, but there's 5 different lenses for R2d2 in this bag, and they're tiny, so I'm gonna have fun with that. I'll probably have to use some tweezers. And then we've got 3 XW01 screws for this part of the build. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started, and I'll show you what we did at the end of this stage, and then we'll complete the episode. See you in a few minutes. And that's it for stage 4. So I believe in stage 4, yeah, we put on the side frames for the cockpit. So we added these to the base. So we added the side frames to the base. And then we completed the build for R2d2, which we put in various LEDs and stuff, and I'll test those in a couple of minutes and show you what it looks like lit up. And then the same thing can be said for the light cannon. So actually it got a little bit longer, so now you can see the full size of it. This is the fully completed one. We actually ran fiber optics all the way from the LED light all the way through to the end of the tip, and then we put a little laser emitter on the end here. So I'll show you what both of those look like in just a second. So one more thing I wanted to show you guys was the items that we had wires for plugged in. so I show them lit up. Because one of the things in the magazine, or the issue, was that you test the lighting. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. So as you can see right here, it's working. It's lit up and it's going all the way to the tip there in the laser cannon. One thing it points out in the magazine too is you guys can see the lighting that's down here, and there's kind of a glow. They suggest if it's bothersome that you go ahead and paint the inside of the laser cannon like a black color, and it will rid that of the glow, I guess. And then here's the base for the R2d2 and where the contacts are, and you can see that it lights up the R2d2 at the top there. So yeah, so for today's episode, we completed R2d2. We completed one of the laser cannons. We have the cockpit, and then we completed part of the frame. And then I showed you what it looked like, what R2d2 looked like lit up, and the laser cannon. So with that being said, the next episode we'll continue the X-Wing build with the second month's issues. That'll be issues 5, 6, 7, and 8, I believe, or stages 5, 6, 7, and 8. If you like this episode, go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel so you can continue seeing all of our epic builds. At some point, I'll keep continuing the Ghostbusters builds and the DeLorean builds and the Star Trek Enterprise builds, but I'm caught up on those, so I'm just waiting for other boxes to arrive. And then sometime next year, we'll start our Titanic and our Batmobile builds on the channel, so look forward to those. So anyhow, for all of us at the Heart of Geek, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Dynamic Diecasters, and I hope to see you in the next one. Have a good night. See you next time.